guys, let's do the daily update. We've had quite the nasty rejection over the past 24 hours. We came up into this resistance region between the 618 and the 707. Actually hit the 707 to the tick, and then had a nasty rejection. I think a lot of this is due to Ethereum rejecting off of its 618 from yesterday. So you remember how I drew the fib pull from the total bear market trend, and we're looking at the retracement up to the 618. You know, we already had the rejection at the point 0.5. Now that we're hitting the 618, it would be logical that we could see resistance right there, is what we were looking at yesterday. And so if I go down to the 4 hour, you know, we're seeing what basically happened right here. We came up into that 618, which is the yellow dotted line there, came through it a little bit, but ultimately had too much market selling and we had the rejection. So, you know, we didn't get the follow through above the 618. It didn't allow Bitcoin to get above 12,000, 12,100, and it rejected. And this rejection, although not nearly as bearish, you know, because Ethereum's just been so strong, it really made Bitcoin look bad on the dump. Because if you look at Ethereum, I mean, this really isn't that bad. Like, you're just looking at an internal retrace. We've come back to the 0.5618. We're still above this support right here. But for Bitcoin, we weren't as bullish because this trend was further along in this pattern, and Bitcoin wasn't that far along. Bitcoin was still below the resistance right here. If you look at how Ethereum was, Ethereum had already got above this left shoulder right here. If you're looking at this as like a head and shoulders, we never got above that here because we just topped out at the 707. And then when Ethereum started to dump, it really forced Bitcoin back down below that weekly support that we were above. And so, you know, my stop loss got hit. I'm sure anybody else that was in here that had their stop loss tight got hit right here at the weekly support. And now we're down below that, and we've had quite a strong candle close. So now we have to determine where we're going to go from here. And so I'm going to take this off. Obviously this is still resistance right here. I'm going to take this trend line off as well, and that, I'm not even sure what that was for. So it's looking like the optimistic count here was for this to play out as a 5, but since we've had such a deep retrace, it hasn't taken out the low right here of this move yet, but it's such a deep retrace that if this was going to be bullish, we would have gotten above here. Just from my experience, if this was going to continue up parabolically, we would have gotten above there already. And the fact that we've rejected, this is making me feel like we're going to be a little more bearish than I was anticipating, unless we're going to do something like what we did back here, you know, because this is still a relatively similar pattern. If you really look at like how this pattern played out, you had this wave right here, you come up, a sharp rejection, 3 wave, take out the high, and then you come down like this, and you have to consolidate for a while. Notice how that pattern is kind of similar to what we're doing right now. You come up, rejection, 3 wave up to take out the high, and then we come down, and now where we're at would be somewhere right in here, or somewhere right in here, one of the two. And so if we're going to hold, what we would be needing to see is, if we're going to play out a similar structure right here, then we would want to be holding like some kind of support region from right here, which in our case would be right here. We would need to be holding this support region right here, ideally, which is what we've come back into. So we would need to get some kind of response out of here for this to hold, and for us to, you know, consolidate a little bit, get back above this weekly resistance again, and consolidate and put in some kind of pattern like we did here, where we put in more of a triangle pattern. And right now, so far, we're just like somewhere right in here. So we would have to, you know, we could potentially go sideways for a while if we're going to hold up support right here and go higher. I am a little concerned because we have went up since March without really any significant pullback. So since we had that rejection right here and didn't get above there, it is more likely that this could be a reversal. And the way that I want to look at that is, I'm going to take, let's just go to a different, let me go to a different chart real quick. one where I don't have anything drawn on it yet. So I like to look at this inverted. It helps me to see the patterns a little bit better. But if you really look at this, you know, like I was showing you right here, we had really that support region all in there that we couldn't get back below. Keep in mind I have this inverted, so everything's upside down. So price going that way is actually down. Price going that way is up. So I'm looking at this pattern right here. You know, it turned into somewhat of a like a symmetrical triangle, because we couldn't break out, and we couldn't get above what this, or get below what this support was right here, and then we fell over. Now we could have something similar to that now, but at the same time this could also be, this could be a Head and Shoulders, where we're just playing out right here a Head and Shoulders, and it looks to be like that. So what we would be waiting for confirmation of that is for us to start closing above here, or below here, and then we would start trending down, or trending up in this case, since we're on the inverse chart. And so that would be what I would be looking for as a confirmation that we're going to be in some kind of reversal, that we start getting below. I'm just going to flip this around because I know it's confusing when I say above and below. If we start to get below these lows right here, and we start to close below those, then I would be looking for some kind of reversal pattern. But currently, as it stands right now, since this did not continue, this parallel channel that I was drawing is, in my opinion, invalidated at this point. Because if we were going to continue higher, we'd have already done that and got above here. And so at this point, I'm just hoping that for a bullish case that we hold this support zone kind of like we did right here, and then we can morph this pattern into somewhat of a more symmetrical triangle, something like that, depending on how you want to draw it and put it on these wicks. We morph and put it in some kind of symmetrical triangle, instead of that completing as a Head and Shoulders and going down. We can put in some kind of symmetrical triangle, but we have to stay above this support region, 11,000 up to 11,200, somewhere in there. We can't be closing below that, or we would be looking for a reversal pattern like that. It would have been the same exact scenario here, where if this would have continued down, then we would have been looking at some kind of reversal. But since we held up, we put in some kind of triangle and then went higher. So I'm looking at something similar right here. So this is what I'm keeping my eye on. Obviously don't like to see this big sell-off, but if we can hold right here and get some kind of response out of here, then it would be better for the bullish bias, or for the bullish case. And so let me take this off. So really what I'm going to be watching for over the next, depending on how quick this plays out, I mean, it might take the next few days, but I'm going to be looking for this support region to hold, if we're going to come back down into here again. And what I would be looking for is some kind of reaction up, and I would probably be interested in a short. I would be looking at wherever this, if this continues to go down and we make a low, I'd be looking at a short between here for like a swing trade. Because once we've made this reaction like this and we're putting in this reversal structure, the algorithms are going to be on your side to be shorting. They would be shorting here and here because they've already been shorting here. They shorted the 707, so they're already in. So every other retrace after that, they're going to be shorting 0.5618, 707. So pretty much this zone right here, they'll be shorting again. And so you'll have that to your advantage on any shorts. And so we can wait for any kind of reaction, to catch that. But obviously, first off, we need to see, is this going to stop, or is it going to keep going down today? If it does, then I would be looking for any kind of retrace, maybe up like that, to potentially play a continuation. But I don't really like doing that because, like I said, I never like playing breakouts, and this would be somewhat of a breakout right here. Since we would be breaking out of a level, it can easily fake you out and then get back above and and go higher. So I don't really like playing breakouts. I like playing retraces of swings, where I know that the algorithms are going to be on my side, I'd rather play the retraces than try to catch breakouts. So this is what I'm currently looking for, is for us to hold support and then come up, and then I can catch a retrace maybe in the next 2 or 3 days. But on a lower time frame for today anyway, I might be trying to catch some scalp longs. If we are to sell off, kind of strong here, since we've already had a nice bounce, I would probably be trying to catch some scalp longs, because on the way down, normally if it sells off hard, you get some kind of reactions. Even if it's going to continue down, you get some small brief reactions. And so if you can catch those and you can manage that for scalping, you can catch some quick long opportunities and then even short opportunities. So I'm going to be paying attention to those during the day, and just seeing what kind of volatility we have. But the next play I'm really looking at is potentially maybe a long. If we get some kind of pattern down here, maybe some kind of divergence, once we have more structure put in, potentially some kind of long where I can long back up to the retrace of that move right there and then be able to short. So that's what I'm currently looking at right now. Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting next couple of days. A lot's changed with that sell-off, so we'll just have to stay on top of it and see what we can take advantage of as the price action develops. If I see any good setups, I'll post those on the Discord, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.